What is going on YouTube? Welcome back to the JDW Sports Talk Show, where every fan is welcome. First game we have on the slate for week 3 are the New York Jets at home, Thursday night primetime football, taking on the New England Patriots, division rival. Good AFC East battle to get the week rolling. And you have Aaron Rodgers looking to get a second win in a row, looking to continue to build on some momentum. In the conference, it's going to be tough to get a high seeding. You're going to have to keep up with the Bills. Bills have an interesting matchup this week as well, but you need to win this week. Favored by 6 points, so there's quite a bit. I have been surprised by the Patriots. I think the Patriots have played a little bit better than I thought they would this year. Coming into the year, they've looked better. It's still early, so it could just be an early of the year type of thing. I think that their offense will slow down, and even though their offense hasn't really been going to begin with, I don't think that the Patriots are a great football team, and I don't think anyone thinks that. I think they're maybe a good football team, but the offense won't be as good as the year goes on. It's going to get slower and slower. Not going to look. It's going to get worse. More film that gets put on, and then the more times that teams have to go in there and get a chance to do what they need to do. If Drake May comes in, maybe they'll look a little better. But gonna be honest with you, I think that Joe Milton should just come in right away. I think he's an awesome playmaker. I think he's the best quarterback in that room. But yeah, I do have the New York Jets winning 24-16. I think Aaron Rodgers will take business. I think Aaron Rodgers and co. Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall will take care of business at home. But a 6-point spread, I'm not too sure if I would touch that. It could be a low-scoring game. It could be a high-scoring game. I don't really know, but I would assume this is a low-scoring game. Even though I have them winning by 8 points, is a good margin of error for victory. But 24-16, even though I have them winning that, by that much, I'm not too sure if that's going to happen. If it's a low-scoring game, probably not. And I could see it being a low-scoring game. I could see it being just a grinded-out, really tough division game. So not too sure I would go ahead and throw money on this willingly. But, yeah, I'm taking the New York Jets 24-16. Next up on the list, on the slate, the first Sunday 1 p.m. game, Cleveland Browns at home against the Giants. I had the Giants finding a way to win this one. They are favored by 6 as well. I mean, that's a bit of a line. Hold on. Oh yeah, it's right. But that's a lot of points too, man. I could see this game being really low scoring. Once again, I had the score a little higher than I think it's going to be. I have them, the Giants scoring that extra touchdown. Again, one of the playmakers, Malik Neighbors or Wan'Dale Robinson. Maybe even defensive-wise, I could see a pick 6 in there, or a defensive touchdown, but I would not touch the 6-point spread. This is going to be a low-scoring game. This could be a game that could be 16-13, that could be 19-13, it could be 10-7. It could be one of those really, really low-scoring games. I would not touch that line, but I think it's going to be, a close game. I don't think it's going to be really a fun game for a lot of people to watch. A lot of people don't like that defensive games anymore. A lot of people, I like a good defensive game. I don't like a sloppy defensive game, if that makes sense. I want to see two good football teams, two good defenses, two good offenses, two fundamentally sound football teams going at it in a low-scoring game. I like that because it's a lot more tense. When you have a lot of sloppy football, it's more aggravating than tense and exciting to watch. You know what I mean? But I do have the Giants getting their first win this season. I think they're gonna. I think it's going to be closer than this. I just threw a score up there, but you really never know. It could be a high-scoring game. A lot of times we think that we're going to get a low-scoring game and we end up getting a high-scoring game. But I do think that the Giants will win in Cleveland. They'll find a way. I wouldn't touch that line. That is a big line for a game that's probably going to be low-scoring for two teams that aren't really that great. I could see Myles Garrett wrecking this game, but I think Daniel Jones, and I think the Giants get the ball out quick. They make just enough plays, and I'm taking the New York Giants 20-13 over the Cleveland Browns. Would not touch that line. That is a big line for a game that could be very low scoring. Next up, you have the Titans at home taking on the Packers. Titans going up against their former quarterback, their former third-round pick, and Malik Willis. Very interesting, but I think that the Titans are going to win this one. I think they're going to beat Malik Willis. I think this is another game that could be a really low-scoring game. I mean, Will Levis, Titans offense have not been impressive. Will Levis will make some really nice throws, man, but he also makes some really poor decisions and really poor throws. It's like, where did that come from? Why can't you do the other thing more? But the Titans they could run the football. I like their young running back group there. I like Tajay Spears. The offense line. But I think the Titans are a sneaky football team, couple weapons, but their defense is really their strength. And Malik Willis is going to have to go up a world of a difference in the Titans defense compared to the Colts defense. Maybe the Packers can get that run game going and kind of bounce that off from Malik Willis, but I really don't think that's going to happen. Don't think the Packers are going to be able to outscore the Titans. I don't think they're going to be able to put up a lot of points this week. Neither team really, with how poor Will Levis is. That Titans special teams is nothing too good either. But they are. The Titans are favored by 3 probably just because it is Malik Willis. If Jordan Love plays, I will be very confident in the Packers winning. Even though Jordan Love, he probably won't be 100%. That's for sure. Keep that in mind. But I still think that the Packers win with the Jordan Love that's banged up and a little injured, not 100% compared to a Malik Willis. They could even swap them in and out every now and then during that game. I could see that being a possibility. But doing the Titans win this thing once again, I don't know, man. A lot of these lines this week I'm looking at so far. I mean, we've only gone through 3 games, but I wouldn't touch these 3 lines. Honestly, very 3 points for very low scoring games. I wouldn't take it. I think you're just throwing money at the wall and praying that it sticks. I mean, that's kind of gambling in the first place, isn't it? But yeah, I do think the Titans win without if Malik Willis starts. If Jordan Love plays, I will switch my pick to the Packers and take the Packers. But I do think that the Packers are going to run the football. I don't see why am I saying that now, but the Packers could run the football, man. They could run the football, but there's going to come a point where they're going to have to pass the football. I think Malik Willis can contribute to a couple of turnovers on the Packers' part, and I think the Titans will take advantage because they're going to be close enough, good field position. Will Levis, like I said, he has some really nice throws that just wow you, but then other throws, it's like why throw that? It's not even close, this and that. But yeah, I do have the Tennessee Titans taking this one 16-13 in another very low scoring, but another good football game. All right, Indianapolis Colts are at home, Lucas Oil Stadium. Bears, not too far of a travel for the Bears, very short travel, really. The Colts are favored by 1. I was really shocked to see that the Colts were favored by 1 in this game, honestly. Don't get me wrong, I think the Colts can be an explosive team on offense, but look at the defense. It's atrocious. Worst run defense in the NFL, not even close, letting up almost 500 yards within the first 2 games. What do the Bears like to do? They like to run the football, man. They're going to run the football, and Colts can't stop the run. I like Khalil Herbert. I like who they have in the backfield there. Bears' offensive line has been nice, especially in the run game. It's been really good. Now, maybe Caleb Williams contributes to a couple turnovers here, but I could see the Bears scoring 23 points because of how much they're running. I think they're literally just going to have to run the football down the Colts' throats. I don't even know if the Colts are – I don't know how many points the Colts are going to score, really. Is it going to be – what kind of day are we going to get from Anthony Richardson? Is Shane Steichen going to call a better game? They're probably angry after last week, rightfully so. It was a pretty embarrassing performance, but I think the Bears win this. They come to Lucas Oil Stadium and knock off the Colts. They get that run game going, and they get this would be their second win because they beat the Titans week 1, but I do think Caleb Williams will be able to throw on this Colts defense just because of how bad the Colts secondary is, a lot of injuries, that kind of stuff. So I'm taking the Chicago Bears against a really bad Colts defense, and then the Bears have a really good defense. The Bears really have a good defense, so I think that the Bears will be fine. They'll be able to limit Anthony Richardson and whoever else can try to make plays. We'll see. How is the run defense going to go? I think if the Colts can pound the football with Jonathan Taylor and run it more this week, maybe they get a shot. Maybe they put up more points, hit a couple big plays at Alec Pierce like they have. See if they get Pittman involved a little more. But ultimately, I think it could. I think it's going to be a good game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. But then again, I think the Bears are just going to run it down the Colts' throats, and there's nothing that the Colts are going to be able to do about it. So the Bears, 23-17, maybe a little too many points for the Bears, but I think they're going to be able to score on that Colts bad defense. Next up, another AFC South team in the Texans traveling to Minnesota. C.J. Stroud, Texans, one of the best teams in the NFL. Sam Darnold, Minnesota Vikings, one of the better teams in the NFL to begin the season. Not sure if it's going to last, and I think that this is where that Cinderella story ends. Now, look, Sam Darnold has just made some awesome throws. It's not the Sam Darnold that we are used to. Was it kind of a comeback game versus the Niners? Was it one of those like, oh, you guys get rid of me, a little more motivation? and they beat the Niners, one of the more dominant teams in the NFL. I think the Niners are still a very dominant football team. It's early in the season, so are the Vikings this good? Is Sam Darnold this good? Or once a tape gets out, you have a couple weeks worth of seeing Sam Darnold play in this offense, and I think it's going to change. I think Sam Darnold's going to go back to being the Sam Darnold we know. But, I do think the Vikings are going to put up a fight. The Texans have had a hard time putting games away, so I do want to see the Texans put games away. And you know what? Vikings given 2.5. I think you could put a little bit of money in this game. I think the Texans will win by 3 points. I think the Texans will be able to have a nice day. Favored by 2.5. They should win by more than 3 points. Absolutely. We'll see how that Vikings defense plays this week. I mean, they've been playing pretty good. Their run game has been pretty good. It's something to watch in this game, too. Their run game has been good. Can they get that run game going versus Houston? But I think Houston has a good defense, a very good defense. And I think their offense, CJ Stroud, he's clutch, very explosive. Too many good receivers. Stephon Diggs coming back to Minnesota. Stephon Diggs going to have a big game. I could see him having a huge game versus one of his former teams. So I do have the Houston Texans barely coming out of this one alive. Barely coming out of this one with the win, 31-27. It will be a good game. I think it will be close, but it also depends. What kind of are we gonna get this? How long is this Vikings team gonna be doing this? You beat the Niners pretty good. You outplay the Niners. You really killed the Giants in Week 1. Could you continue to do it, or now that there's film out there, now are you gonna start looking like the Vikings that we all thought you were coming into the season? Didn't think the Vikings were a very good team coming into the year, but obviously that has changed right now at this moment. Do I think it will last? No, I don't think they're going to be this good all season long, but they'll be a good football team. Maybe they'll be a good football team all season long. Maybe they'll just fall off and then look like crap after a couple weeks once everyone figures them out. But I do think the Texans I think they're going to be able to figure it out a little bit this week and set the path for the rest of the teams to continue to build on what the Texans did, beating the Vikings, beating Sam Darnold, beating a red-hot Sam Darnold who was looked absolutely incredible. But Houston Texans 31-27 got them all over the Minnesota Vikings. CJ Stroud, Stephon Diggs coming home. He was going to have a big game. All right. Okay, this was a tough game for me to pick, man. Once again, are we talking about a team that, I think, the Saints obviously are a very good football team. There's no way around it. There's no way just saying it's just a beginning of the season thing. They have absolutely dominated. If you cut their score in half, both of their first 2 games, they still win both of those games. So, Saints, they just been dominant as can be. And, I think they're a very good football team, like I said. But I think the Eagles are going to spoil that a little bit this week. I think the whole world is picking the Saints. Eagles are mad. They're pissed off. They're angry after what happened. Now, that doesn't mean that they're going to be better and that they're going to win. But I think that the Eagles are going to win. I think that they're going to pull off the upset. You see the Saints are favored by 2.5. I think the Eagles pull out the upset. Now you're going to have to stop that offense. Derek Carr, you're going to have to get pressure on Derek Carr. And I think they're going to get a little pressure on Derek Carr this week. I think they're going to find a way to just win this football game, really. I think they're going to be able, and that Saints defense is good. We knew that defense was good coming into the year. Not this good, but I think that the Eagles are going to be able to run the football. They're going to pound the football. They're going to take care of the clock, and they're going to control this game. And, I think Derek Carr is going to have one of those games where he makes a mistake or two. And that's going to be all the difference because the Eagles are one of those football teams. You make a couple of mistakes, they get up a couple of scores, they get up, a couple of possessions. They're going to shave that clock like you've never seen before. So I think that the Eagles, and I think Jalen Hurts takes care of the ball. No A.J. Brown hurts, of course. And they're going to have to stop the run. That's another big thing. I think I just talked about this, but they're going to really have to stop that run. They've struggled against the run the first 2 weeks. And they're playing another really good run game. Alvin Kamara has been lights out. Saints offensive line has been lights out. But I think that the interior of the Eagles defense line is going to step up. I think that these linebackers are going to step up. I think that the Eagles defense is going to step up this weekend. And Vic Fangio is going to figure something out against the Saints. Very good defense coordinator. A lot of people make fun of him. A lot of people talk about, he's kind of an old school kind of defense coordinator, head coach. But I think he's going to figure out the Saints a little bit this week. And I do have the Eagles barely barely scratching by the Saints, 31-30. But I could see this game going either way. I could see the Saints winning this game. I could see the Eagles winning this game. I could see the Saints blowing the Eagles out. Really, if I'm taking a chance on the Eagles this week. It's kind of like one of my upsets. So Eagles 31-30 Saints. All right, another really difficult game to pick. So many difficult games to pick this week, but Steelers, home. That defense has been awesome, okay? And their Chargers, let's look at who they play. They play the Raiders, and they play the Panthers. So their offense, it's looked all right. It's looked pretty good. First game, a little shaky. Second game, you still score 26. But now you're going up against a whole new animal. Now you have to go to Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh can run the football a hell of a lot better than you. They can stop the ball a hell of a lot better than you. They play defense a heck of a lot better than you. So give me the Steelers all day long versus the Chargers. I think this is a difficult game. If Justin Herbert has one of his heroic games, an incredible game, if his receivers can help him out a little bit, the Chargers have a chance. It's going to be a really good game. It looks like I forgot to change the colors in this background. But I'm taking the Steelers, man. I'm taking the Steelers 20-19. I'm pretty confident in this one. For a game I think it's supposed to be that it's going to be close. And a game that is difficult that, you're just looking at the surface of it, it's difficult to predict. But I think the Steelers offense is going to click a little more this week. Justin Fields having the third week in a row, unless it's Russell Wilson, whatever. But I think it's going to stay Justin Fields. Fields has some really good weapons. Steelers can really run the football. And I think they are going to keep that Chargers offense at bay. The Steelers defense is elite. Give me Steelers 2019 in a really close game. It could even be much more low scoring than that. All right, Tampa Bay, home, red hot. Baker Mayfield, red hot. Bo Nix, Broncos, ice cold. Complete opposite quarterbacks right now. Okay, Bo Nix is young, still learning, still figuring it out, but he's going to be pressured all day long. He's going to have to carry the game on his shoulder. And I don't think he's going to be able to do it. He's not going to be able to outduel Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. What do they still have? Cameron Sutton, Marvin Mims Jr. Don't get me wrong. They have some really good playmakers over there in Denver. But you're coming to the Buccaneers' house. And the Buccaneers have just been absolutely lights out. Bucs are at home, favored by almost a touchdown. And I am more than confident that the Bucs will win by more than a touchdown in this game. Now, the Broncos' defense, it's been interesting. I think they've been all right. Then again, they played the Patriots and they played the Steelers. So, is the defense really that good? Their offense has played two really good defenses, and I think the Buccaneers' defense is just as good. So, I don't think Bo Nix and the Broncos are going to be able to do enough. And on top of that, I think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I think they're going to throw all over this defense. They're just going to outpower the Broncos, man. They're going to beat the Broncos in what the Broncos want to do. Baker Mayfield, he's clutch. He's going to make sure that they're not in a bad spot in this game. Maybe it's a trap game. Maybe. A lot of these games could be trap games this week. But I just think that the Bucs, Baker Mayfield, I think they're too good for that, man. I don't think they're going to let that happen. A coach has been awesome. Coaching has been awesome. So I'm taking the Bucs. Even after a big win versus the Lions, it could be a trap game. Like I said, after two big wins, especially the Lions game, could be a trap game. But I wouldn't be shocked to see the Broncos win just because it could be a trap game. Those kind of games early in the season. But I had the Bucs, man. 27-13. I'm not going to overthink it too much. All right, Raiders, home. I think the Raiders should absolutely win this one, man. I mean, I don't think anyone should be losing the Panthers. They're worse than last year, right? It is going to be Andy Dalton, so I do think that the offense is going to be a little more competent. Andy Dalton, Dalen, Leggett, they have some playmakers in that team. They surely do. And Andy Dalton is gonna help those playmakers show out a little bit, but I just think that the Raiders are gonna be better today. On this day, I think that Gardner Minshew is gonna have a nice day. They're gonna, Max Crosby and that Raiders defensive line is just going to get after Andy Dalton, hit him all day long. make it difficult for him to concentrate, read the field. And I can see a couple of turnovers there for the Panthers, and the Raiders just capitalizing on good field position. So, I fully believe Gardner Minshew and the Raiders should be able to beat the Panthers. And I'm pretty confident, with that 5.5, even though I don't have them winning by more than 5. I still think that the Raiders can cover. I think they can, and it wouldn't shock me if they would. And the Raiders are maybe a little better than I thought. They put up a good fight against the Chargers in week 1 for half the game, and they beat the Ravens. So can they put two together? Or is this a trap game, or is it kind of a game where you just beat the Ravens? Wow, Raiders looking good, and then you go on and you lose to the Panthers with Andy Dalton at the helm. I don't know. Maybe they could lose this game because of that. We see that all the time. A team beat an awesome team. Big game. Great win. And you go ahead and disappoint against one of the worst teams in the NFL, or a team that you should beat. But the Raiders aren't going to fall victim to that. They are going to run that football. They're going to throw at Gardner Minshew, all those weapons they have. Brock Bowers, Vontae Adams. So I got the Raiders 24-19. Seahawks and Dolphins. Going to be an interesting game, to say the least. No Tua in Seattle. And, that Dolphins run defense is not good. And what do the Seahawks want to do? They want to pound that football. Kenneth Walker, if he's hurt, if he's healthy, we'll see. But that Seahawks defense is they fly around. Mike McDonald has that defense playing at such a high level. They fly around to the ball. They fly right to the ball. Tight coverage, really good corners, really good defense in general. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for the Dolphins to really do much on offense this game, I think. Even though, you still have good playmakers, Jalen Waddle, Reek Hill, Achane, Mostert, they still have some incredible playmakers. But it's not going to be enough. The Seahawks rally to the ball too quick. Now, are you going to be able to tackle those guys that are really fast? That's another story. But Seahawks at home, Dolphins have to travel pretty far. And I think the Seahawks should win this comfortably, and I am comfortable with them covering that 4-point favorite, that 4-point spread. But yeah, Seahawks at home taking on Dolphins. No Tua, unfortunately. If Tua was playing this game, I would think about this game a little more. But without Tua, how bad that Dolphins defense is in the offensive line. Whoever's back there is going to get hit all day long. Yeah, I don't think this game was too difficult to predict. Like a lot of the other ones, it was really difficult, and I could be wrong. Absolutely could. Any of these games can go haywire. But speaking of haywire, these two teams were absolutely embarrassed last week. Were absolutely disappointed. I'm not gonna say embarrassed. Well, the Cowboys were embarrassed. The Ravens a little bit. Cowboys got smoked by the Saints. Baltimore. I don't know why the Ravens logo is so high there. But the Ravens, what a disappointing loss to the Raiders. The Raiders just completely outplayed the Ravens. Is that an early in the year type of thing? Ravens 0-2, Cowboys 1-1. Both teams that dominate in the regular season struggle in the postseason. I don't think that the Cowboys are going to be able to win this football game. Their run defense last year wasn't good, and the run defense last week was horrendous, bad, crap. And now you're playing Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry. I think the Cowboys are going to see what they could have had in Derrick Henry instead of Ezekiel Elliott this past offseason. So I think the Ravens are going to run down the Cowboys' throat, run all day long, and there's nothing that the Cowboys are going to be able to do, nothing that the Cowboys are going to be able to do about it. And I do think that Dak and CeeDee Lamb, they're going to have to carry the offense. So it's going to be could Dak Prescott get the ball on time? What kind of game is he going to have? How's the Cowboys' offensive line going to do against a strong front? And the Ravens, not too sure. But Ravens, 27-24, close game. But I do think the Ravens, with the better run game, better run defense, do think that the Ravens will win this game. And, Cowboys given 1.5. Yeah, I'm confident the Ravens winning by more than that. So they'll win by at least a field goal. All right, Rams home. Really beat up, man. I think I had this game a little too close, maybe. They're given 7. That might not be enough. Niners favored by 7. I mean, the Rams are so. But yeah, just how beat up the Rams are. I don't think they have really too much of a shot in this one. Even though they're at home, it's a divisional game. You never know what can happen. I mean, for God's sake, the Niners lost to the Vikings last week. Maybe the Vikings are better than what I'm giving them credit for, but maybe it's an early season thing. Like I said many times in this game or in this video, that's just how the early season is. You really never know. But I'm very confident Niners going out and covering this spread. I mean, 27-17, Brock Purdy, Jordan Mason has looked absolutely incredible. It's just unfortunate by how decimated the Rams are by injuries. And it showed versus the Cardinals. The Cardinals absolutely killed them. It wasn't even close. So, yeah, I'm taking Niners 27-17. Don't think it's going to be too close of a football game. Niners will probably score more. Not even sure if the Rams can score that much. But, yeah, give me Niners. Cardinals, man, they've been explosive. Speaking of that division, that division has been explosive. And Cardinals have been nothing short of that. They've dominated 6 quarters of football. Unfortunately, 2 of those quarters were to the Bills, where they kind of, really screwed that game up. They could be 2-0 right now against 2 good teams. Now, the Rams were really injured last week, but they still dominated them. What was it, 41-10? You still dominate them. I don't care who you play. I don't care how injured they are. You dominate a football team 41-10. I'm going to give you some credit for it. You're going to get an eye raise. You're going to get a look. But, they had a really good game last week. And, yeah, they put up a good fight against the Bills. Fortunately, they were up early in that game, too. Dominate the Rams. Week 3, you're once again playing another really good football team. Really dominant football team. I just think that the Lions are just going to pound the football. I don't think the Cardinals are going to be able to stop the run in this game. I think the Lions are going to pound the football, a little bit of play action. Jared Goff a little bit over the top. Monra St. Brown. Sam Laporta. I think Sam Laporta gets going in this game as well. I have the Lions, and I think they cover the spread. Favored by 3 points. I think they win by more than 3 points. I think it will be a very good game. Cardinals offense has been really explosive, and I'm just taking the Lions. I think the Lions are the better football team at the end of the day. But so yeah, give me the Detroit Lions versus the Arizona Cardinals. I think that one's it could be one. If you think about it too long, you could overthink it. But at the end of the day, the Cardinals have definitely earned a thought in this game. But I don't think they're going to do it against the Lions. Really good defense and an incredible defense. They did have a sloppy game versus the Buccaneers. I think they're going to bounce back in a big way versus the Cardinals. 33 points, 27. 33-27. Lions go to Arizona and knock off the Redbirds. Speaking of Redbirds, you have the Falcons at home. Thinking out the Kansas City Chiefs. Yes, here's another upset from me. I think that the Atlanta Falcons can't upset the Chiefs this weekend, and I think the chances are much higher than what a lot of people think. Atlanta Falcons last week, man, they figured something out closer in the game. They did get very lucky, and they just pounded the football, man. They pounded the football. They're very good against the Eagles' run defense, and the Chiefs, they have a better run defense. They sure do, but I think that the Falcons are going to be able to run that football. Now, you can't really nowadays say that you're going to just try and keep Patrick Mahomes off the field, because that just doesn't work. You just have to outscore him. You just have to have a really good day offensively. I think Kirk Cousins, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, I think these guys are going to pull off the upset this weekend. They're at home. The Chiefs have had two good games. They get fortunate to beat the Bengals last week. And week 1, it was a close game versus the Ravens, very close. And give me Atlanta to upset the Kansas City Chiefs this weekend. Kirk Cousins, once again, I think it's going to be a Kirk Cousins game-winning drive. That's my prediction for this game. Kirk Cousins going to go down the field and win that and get that game-winning drive to beat the Chiefs and shock the world this weekend. Everyone's probably picking the Chiefs this weekend. I don't know if anyone's even giving the Falcons a chance, but I am. In fact, I'm having them upset the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, 3.5 points. Don't know. I don't know about that, but man, I think Kirk Cousins, Drake London, and that defense has looked all right too. The run defense wasn't great, and considering how beat up the Chiefs are, losing Isaiah Pacheco for a couple weeks, that's gonna help the Falcons considering their run defense doesn't look great, but they do have some really good pieces. Jesse Bates finished off the game versus the Eagles, and now you're playing one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL, so you better be on your A game. And Hollywood Brown, I don't think he's playing either. I think he might be out for this season, actually. So give me the Falcons in an upset. Give me the Atlanta Falcons 31-28 over Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. Bengals, home. Washington Commanders. I don't think this one was too hard for me either. I mean, I think this is going to be the game where Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase really just hammer it on. They absolutely kill the Washington Commanders. 41-20. Get me wrong, man. That Commanders defense isn't good. It is not very good. Don't get me wrong. They have a couple players. They have a couple good players, but it's not enough. Not going to be enough to stop Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins, and Zach Moss. Zach Moss isn't incredible, but he is very good. He is a good back. Bengals offensive line going to be good enough. I mean, I just think that this is going to be a game where the Bengals offense is just gonna come out and kill it and have their breakout game for the year. This is where the Bengals get some momentum for the year as well. The Commanders, it's just they don't have the offense to keep up with the Bengals. Jaden Daniels, he's still young, he's still developing. I don't like a couple of things I'm seeing from him, like dropping his eyes way too early just to go and run. That's a little concerning, but I am very confident in the Bengals winning and covering their spread, even though it's a 7.5-point spread. Sometimes those are tricky, just over a touchdown, but I do think that the Bengals will win by more than a touchdown, and I will think they win in a big way. Next, last game, last but not least, the Buffalo Bills at home. Jacksonville Jaguars coming to town. This is a trap game. Trap game. You got away with one in week 1. You dominate the Dolphins in your Thursday night game, but you are getting some extra rest. Thursday night to Monday night, so that's nice. It kind of depends. What Trevor Lawrence are we going to get? What Jaguars team are we going to get? The Bills are going to force, like I said last week versus the Dolphins, the Bills are going to force you to drive down that field 13, 14 plays a drive. And if you can't do that, you're not going to beat the Bills. You're not going to score touchdowns. You're not going to get down the field, and you're not going to win. That's what the Bills like to do. They like to make you drive down the field, long drives, take your time, so you can't mess up. You have to be very, very meticulous, very, you have to be on the ball every play. You'd be very, very just on it that day. And, I'm not too sure if Trevor Lawrence can be that consistent. He has trouble with consistencies, man. Are we going to get a Trevor Lawrence that looks really good, reading the field well, and just playing really well? Or are we going to get the Trevor Lawrence that we've been getting for, more often than not, just not seeing the field, not seeing guys open, bad decision making. I just think that the Bills are going to win this game pretty well. I think they're going to be fine. Josh Allen and Khalil Shakir, James Cook has been killing it. I think that they're going to be able to run the football all over the Jaguars. On top of that, Josh Allen running the football, Josh Allen throwing it. I just think that the Bills, I think that this is a good game for the Bills, and it wouldn't shock me if the Bills cover either. Just 5 points. I think the Bills can absolutely win by a touchdown, maybe 10 points. Bills got a good shot in this game, and I'm taking the Bills. I don't think the Bills are going to lose this game, and if the Bills do win this game, all right, I'm on the Bills. I'm back on the Bills wagon. Not saying they're great. I could see them dominating this game as well, but this is a trap game, and Week 1 was a little worrisome. Week 2 dominated, and but the Dolphins aren't looking like a great football team right now. But Bills 27-23. I think they're going to beat up on the Jaguars at home, prime time. Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills get it done and go 3-0 to start the season. So Bills 27-23, and that's going to do it for my predictions this week. Thank you for tuning into the JW Sports Talk Show. If you enjoy, make sure to like, subscribe, put the post notification bell on so you don't miss any future videos. And this is the JW Sports Talk Show signing off.